Maggie Birders, and welcome to episode 4 of our lovely landscape project for this week. So today we're going to be working on this area here. We're going to be working in adding in some details to the lake. What we want to be doing is just dealing with some of the shading along the shoreline here. And then we'll also be adding in some shadowing details, just mirroring what's going on in the background. So let's make a start. So for this, what I'm going to be doing is just using my size 6 brush. Very, very simple, just my normal go-to round-headed brush. And what we're going to be doing is just taking up some lovely sort of a fairly sort of cooly greeny bluey colour. So we'll just mix some greens and blues in our palette just to create that nice depth of colour that we're looking for. So I'll just add in the blue. And we'll just add in a little bit of green. And hopefully it won't go too muddy and too grey. We'll be able to keep the colour. Okay. And then all I'm going to be doing is just washing over that shoreline. Now the best thing to do is just using one of the little flathead brushes that we've been working with this week. Is just very, very carefully just apply a little bit of wash just along that shoreline. Now, I lent on my painting yesterday and I've got a little green blob here, so I am just going to add that a little bit of water on that just to try and get rid of it slightly. There we go. So you don't need to come all the way down the bottom of the lake, just concentrate on this shoreline and just where the shadowing is going to be, and just apply the water direct to the paper, so you're then able to use the wash quite easily. So using the paint that we've just mixed, the lovely greens and the blues, move my palette slightly. Take up the excess of the paint and just dry that on the brush, and then all you're doing is just adding in just that little bit of tone onto the lake. And keeping the sweeping strokes, and just make sure that you just move that paint around, so you're just getting a little bit of a bolder colour to the lake. And it's got a bit of different tone to it. And then while you're working with this darker colour, just think about your landscape. Think about where the mountains are, think about the trees, and just kind of mimic the shadowing. So you've just got that reflection in the water. Again, just constantly dry your brush off. If your paint's pooling and you're unhappy with the way that it's run, with a dry brush, dry it off, take it straight back to your work, and then you'll be able to rectify. So our little trees here, our taller trees, just move you along a bit. There we go. So our taller trees, we're just going to put a little bit of shading, so they've got like the shadow into the water. Because I just take your time in doing this, and just you'll end up with something that you're actually quite happy with. I'm just going to soften that ever so slightly around those shadows because I've got some lines, can you see? So I'm just softening that with the water. I'm just manipulating the paint ever so slightly. There we go. And I've also got a line, you can see I've got a line along here. So again, just using just a brush loaded with water, we can just literally just rub that line out and just soften that ever so slightly. There we go. Bring some colour to the foreground just to mimic that shadow of that mountain. Just take some colour up on my brush, and we'll just bring that forward a little bit. So you can see we've got some lovely tones now going through the water. We've got some lovely blues, we've got some greens. We've got the lighter blue that we first applied on the very first day that we worked on this painting. So just take some time and just add in just the little sort of shadowing details as you go. Don't rush this process, just work on it methodically. Just add in those details. Just pushing the darker colour towards the shoreline. And then just working with a little bit more green just along here. Okay, so when you've actually added in all of your shading and you're happy, what we can then do is again just using a drier brush, just add in some extra details. So again, just using your kitchen paper, dry your brush off. You can use your size 6 if you wanted to, or you can just revert back to the broader brush that we were working with when we stippled the trees yesterday. So just make sure that it's dry, and then coming over to where these taller fir trees are, all you're going to do is just drag that colour through, just to give it that reflection a little bit more structure. Okay, so again, just dry the brush off, make sure it's nice and dry and the bristles have sort of stippled again. Moving along here, you're just then going to drag that through over that paint as it's drying, and you can just see that that just changes that reflection ever so slightly. So again, we'll just add in some little brush marks around here. Where the little trees are. Because I just take some time in doing this process, because you just want to make sure that you've got it looking nice. over and work on these ones. And just soften that up ever so slightly. It will soften and the paint will lift slightly. So take some time when you come to do that, because then you're just going to then add in your reflection into the lake. Okay, and then what we're going to do, just as we're finishing off this process, is again just using either your cocktail stick or your sort of kebab stick. You just need to just scratch in just some light reflections on the water. So don't overthink it, just scratch the paint away so we've got some reflection showing through. We will be adding a little bit of ink detail to this as well, as these sort of light pockets that we've put in there. So can you see? Just very, very gently, just then add in just some light little scratches. The main focus is along that shoreline, just scratching in a little bit of lightness along the shoreline. So I'll just put in a little bit of detail along here. Okay. It's just a different way of just adding a little bit more texture and dimension to your painting. And we'll just focus on that shoreline and just get some colour taken away from the shoreline. Okay, so take some time, add in the shading details and then add in some of the light pockets, and then what we'll do is we shall come back again tomorrow and we will just get this painting finished. I hope you're enjoying this process. Do stick with it and I shall see you all again tomorrow. Goodbye.